Errol Spence's trainer, Derek James, obviously trainer of the year, highly respected, is also training Jermell Charlo for his fight with Canelo Alvarez on September 30th. That's another great fight. But he revealed some details about Errol Spence just not looking right in the Terence Crawford fight, saying that his timing looked off, he just didn't look like himself. And that's fine, you know, that's fine as a trainer to say that. But I don't believe that it would have changed the outcome, you know, if Errol was feeling his best. Like, obviously, I take that back. I think that if Errol Spence was feeling his best, the fight would have obviously been more competitive. But that's like a lot of what ifs. You have to give the guy his credit. Like, we can't, you know, you can't make excuses. And Derek James isn't making excuses. But saying that he didn't look right, I don't know if it was so much of that as much as it was, you know, Terence Crawford just maybe being on another skill set level. I've said it, you know, recently that Terence Crawford with that performance has solidified himself as the #1 pound-for-pound boxer in the world. I don't see anybody even close to him right now. When you beat a guy like Errol Spence Jr., who was said to be the #2, if you beat that guy, or Errol Spence was even seen as the #1, so by Terence Crawford demolishing Errol Spence like that, no one's really beat someone, you know, in the top 5, let alone the other best fighter. It was only Errol Spence and Terence Crawford that were talked about as 1A and 1B in the not only in the welterweight division, but in the sport of boxing, pound for pound. And when Terence Crawford goes in there and does something like that to Errol Spence, that solidifies him as the #1 pound for pound fighter. I'm not saying in the rematch it won't be different. I think that Errol Spence fighting at 54 obviously gets 7 more pounds to play with, more leeway to make the weight, and I think that's going to be very beneficial for him. I think he needs it. He looks like really skinny and not in the best shape. Like, I feel like he could be ripped at 54. I think they just take too much away from him when he goes to 47. But at the end of the day, you know, you sign the contract knowing the fight's going to take place at 47. I'm not sure if the fight would have happened if Errol Spence didn't make the fight happen at 47. Maybe if he said 54, then Terence Crawford might have not taken it. But I think after Terence Crawford had such a great performance against Errol Spence, 54 is not really going to be an issue, because Terence Crawford has also stated that 47 is hard for him to make. So he's going to be comfortable at 54 as well. It's going to be doing both guys a favor. They're going to feel better. And Terence Crawford has said he wants the best version of Errol Spence. And I think either way, on July 29th, that fight would have gone in Terence Crawford's favor. Maybe not that way. Maybe Errol Spence doesn't take a beating like that, because we've never seen it. So a lot of people, including myself, are still in disbelief that Terence Crawford was able to put that kind of whooping and beating on a guy like Errol Spence, who was praised for his defense, was praised for his jab, and Terence Crawford neutralized everything that Errol Spence had to offer. Every threat that Errol Spence had coming into the fight, Terence took it away. The defense, Terence Crawford nullified that just with his hand speed and his foot speed. He was faster than Errol Spence, and the timing was way better. And then taking away his jab, obviously, like he said, that was the main factor in why the fight was relatively easy. You know, I don't like to say, you know, who am I to say a fight was easy, but for Terence Crawford, in comparison to his other opponents, compared to Yorkis Gamboa fighting at lightweight, and then Sean Porter, you know, his second to latest fight that he had was obviously more competitive. So stylistically, that doesn't mean, you know, Sean Porter is better than Errol Spence necessarily, because when you put Errol Spence and Sean Porter together, Errol technically won the fight. And a lot of people think if that knockdown didn't happen, you know, it's a different outcome. But that's aside. On paper, Errol Spence should be better than Sean Porter because they fought. Errol Spence was the winner. But Terence Crawford and Errol Spence was very one-sided. Like, it didn't even look like Errol Spence belonged in the ring with it didn't look like Errol Spence belonged in the ring with Terence Crawford. And I think Errol he's gonna eventually watch the film on that fight and see that he wasn't on the level of Terence, and there's no going around that. There's just, you know, improvements to be made, adjustments to be made. And if he's able to do that kind of stuff, I think that he could do very well in a rematch. A lot of people are saying, you know, don't even take the rematch. No one wants to see that again. No one wants to see you get beat like that again. But if you can make the tweaks and have different game plans and be a little bit more dynamic like Terence Crawford, because Terence Crawford has a lot of ways to win the fight. Errol Spence only goes in there with the one game plan, and he drives it home until it works. But against a guy like Terrence Crawford, who was making him pay, there was nothing he could do. And that was evident within the fight, and everybody saw that. The fans saw that, and every person who knows the sport of boxing saw that Errol Spence wasn't on Terrence Crawford's level on that night. So will the rematch be different? I don't know. I just thought it was interesting to hear Derek James say, you know, he himself didn't think that Errol Spence looked right, and that's the trainer, that's the guy that's in there, you know, 7 days a week, 6 to 7 days a week with his fighter, observing him, observing his movement. And if he's saying that Errol Spence didn't look right, then maybe something was wrong. But there's no excuses. You know, Terrence Crawford was the better man, the better fighter, and at this moment he is the better fighter. So until we see otherwise in a rematch, there's no reason to make any excuses, anything like that. I'm not saying that Derek James is making excuses. I just think that we should calm down and, you know, give Terrence Crawford his flowers because he deserves it, and it was a tremendous win. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about Derek James, Errol Spence's trainer, saying that, you know, Errol didn't look right. He looked a little bit off. What do you guys think about that? But thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
That's going to do it for another Naz Fight Media video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy, Matt Nabong, with another video. Hope you guys enjoyed it all. Thank you guys for the constant support. Salute to y'all always. It's been your boy.